of player. I believe it was Genja who actually brought that one to the forefront. Was it IEM Kiev or something like that, where he pulled it out and suddenly everyone in solo queue was running that one? That's going back quite some time. But regardless, I'm not a big fan, I never have been, but Jims is so damn strong on this champion, he makes it work. So you really can't fault him for picking this one up. As you say as well, with the composition they're running with and against, it also does make quite a bit of sense. Irelia is an anti-AD carry kind of champion, and the lightning charge is going to keep Kennen away from him. It's just basically going to distance himself from the rest of Mouse and try and put down the damage afterwards.
Yeah, so it looks like we did have a placeholder pick at the end. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I haven't heard what it was either, because we have quit out of the lobby and gone back into it again.
A rune bug, apparently.
Oh, apparently it was not a placeholder pick, just a bug with the runes.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say, I couldn't really see what the placement would be, because they're all fairly legit picks. So yeah, apparently it was a rune bug. We were informed in the lobby. Unfortunately, Spud, you're not in the lobby. You're spectating from the stream, which is why you couldn't quite see that one.
That is true. I am eternally behind the world. Such a penalty for being the color caster, I suppose. You just don't get to be in the lobby. Second-class citizens.
No, you don't get to be with all the cool kids. It's one of the pitfalls, I guess you could say. But the picks are coming in thick and fast here between the two teams. This is it's going to be a war of attrition. It's going to be a long one, this, I have to feel. This could even go down to the 5th game. Such is the kind of equality of the skill and the talent involved with both teams, in my opinion. I think this really could go down to that 5th game. It's not going to be a one-sided affair.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They're both very evenly matched teams. We have got, of course, full lineups now. I mean, Mouse potentially could snowball this game because they do have more split push, like very much the similar style to what we saw yesterday quite a lot from Gamers 2 and what Cloud9 Eclipse likes to run as well. They have the potential to get into a situation where they don't need to team fight, where they apply map pressure by just split pushing constantly with their top and their bot lanes, and then they have the mid and the jungler roaming together, because LeBlanc Kha'Zix is a very, very scary combo in that regard. But obviously, if it goes late, they probably will have a weaker team fight, but they'll still have some tools. I don't think Shen ever really truly outscales Irelia in a one-on-one sense, and that means he's never really going to be able to apply super great pressure to force those team fights to happen.
Alrighty, well, we are going to be, as you can see, on the delay. Again, I keep forgetting that we're on live client because we've been casting so much on the tournament realm recently. But we are going to be having a delay for another 2.5 minutes, so we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. While we do so, guys, if you are enjoying the Hitbox TV stream quality and the stuff that we're bringing you here from the Challenger Face-Off, why not register to the site? It takes about 10-15 seconds, it's completely free, and get following so you are notified every single time we do hop live. Because in the next 2 or so weeks, we are going to have a lot more League of Legends action coming right here around the same time. So, next 2 minutes, we are going to be jumping to a quick commercial break. When we rejoin us, will be live for game number 1 between mousesports and Karont3. See you very shortly.
Is crumbling. Let it collapse into the abyss. In the midst of summer it won't exist. This emptiness, it's just a blank slate, waiting for a painter to interfere. It's quite complex, but what I know.
And we are live on Summoner's Rift, ladies and gents, and shock horror, there has not been a pause called, so this is kind of unfamiliar territory for me, Spuddington. I'm used to having a pause for a good 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Both teams are going to be actually bunching up and kind of pushing in unison, but it doesn't look like too much is going to happen. I say that, but actually, Kubon or Take Fun could be caught here. Kubon very narrowly eats a shuriken. Had it have landed, he would have gone down for first blood.
So I'm actually curious right now, did Karont3 get that little bug where you see someone that's just recalled? You can actually see them recalling even though they're already gone? Because if they've got that information, they know they've been spotted. If they don't know they've been spotted, on the other hand, Karont3 may actually go for the late invade, even though it's a very predictable path to take when you've already seen the 5-man stack in that brush.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I'm not too sure how it went down, but that shuriken whizzed past the face of Kubon, and I think he was a bit scared. I personally would be, Spud, because if that landed, you're in the middle of a 1v5, you're at least going to have to burn flash, and to be fair, probably not going to do anything, especially when you look at how much CC would be on the cards as well at level 1, because Shen had not taken a point, so he could have gone for taunt, you could have had a dark binding as well, and that would have been lights out.
Yeah, almost certainly, but got away with it, and, you know, fortune favours the standing in the brush shopping sometimes. Not all the time, actually, I'll say that from personal experience, but sometimes you'll get away with this kind of stuff.
You will. It's a known syndrome that I have suffered from a long time. Being caught while recalling, being greedily trying to buy the BF sword or something, and then suddenly my screen starts flashing red. I'm like, oh crap, I died, didn't I? Yes, I did. At least then when you're at spawn, you get to buy anyway, though. I guess that is a bit of a silver lining.
I wanted to buy anyway. Always the excuse. It's a pretty good one. I'll say that. And I'm just looking at this Kennen in the bottom lane, by the way, and Konzizan I'm going to call him Konzizan because we haven't had the time to work out his name like Makata.
Well, Neptuno is going to be under the corner. He has to flash away, but here comes Kondizan in the mid lane. He actually picks up the first blood with the assist coming in from Take Fun. So already, we said that with his champions, he's going to be a hyper-aggressive, gank-centric jungler, and he has not disappointed.
And smart play from Take Fun as well. Taking the E at level 2. I mean, he didn't have his silence, but of course he didn't need that when he had the root. Setting up Kha'Zix to be the one to do all the damage that was necessary. And right now, I've got to say, Konzizan, he's been spotted. Karont3 is going to know he's going to want to do this blue buff. He's going to sit there, he's going to watch, he's going to wait for the blue buff to get started, wait for Konzizan to take a lot of damage. And Eve is a very scary champion to deal with when you've got no mana and low health.
Especially with these double buffs as well, but Leaf will be coming
Smite
across. Who is going to have the best smite, and it's going to be Kondizan. So already, he is certainly impressing in the first game that I've casted with him, certainly with Mouse. So good start. And also, there was a poll called in the chat. 80.8% of chat was correct. The question was, which team will pick up first blood? And you guys voted for Mouse, so congratulations. You don't win anything, apart from admiration.
You win my respect and admiration, but I voted for them too, so I respect and admire myself. Anyway, Nepti is actually fighting off against Take Fun there, but there's nothing too severe that's going to happen in that mid lane solo, but in the jungle...
Oh, Eco is getting chunked down right now. That's a double buffed up Kondizan who's going to be flashing in. This should be first blood. I was going to say first blood. First blood's already gone down, but Kubon will be getting his first blood in this game as a result. And now Jerome is going to have to deal with this double buffed up Irelia. That's never a situation you want to be in. Bot lane, Jims is flashing up red, has Ignite ticking down, but he's going to be okay.
He'll live. He's still got Summon a heal, and I'm wondering if he's going to try and stay in, because it's a very risky proposition against Lucian and Thresh. So bursty, and they've got the CC, and they've got the shields, and they've got the Lantern for diving. Seems like he's going to trance it.
Well, it's a real dodgy one in Jims. Oh my goodness, he will be flashing though. Not flashing, healing is the one I was looking for. Tormented Soil, Dark Binding, both land on Mackless. He's going to eat quite a bit of damage. But yeah, that summoner was burnt there just to keep Jims healthy enough to farm behind his tower.
Yeah, now Karont3 coming down. No buffs though. Hasn't had the best chance. Yeah, best game so far.
Yeah, Mackless not looking too healthy, but he will be flashing through the wall. Libic got caught by Dark Binding. Here comes the teleport, though, courtesy of Kubon. Those double buffs are going to start to rip through Rydal. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. Flashes underneath the tower. Gets also Dark Binded and exhausted, but there is the Dark Passage coming to the rescue. However, Econator is still here for K3, and he was hungry for a couple kills, but it's not going to happen. Oh my god, that passage of play though. And that's given Kondizan enough time to actually pull himself down towards the bot lane. Death Sentence narrowly missing. Jims is flashing up red once again from Makla. And somehow, someway, no one's fallen just yet. Although Kondizan's going to meet Evelyn again. Here's Take Fun from the backside. That is going to be the chains landing, and that is going to be a kill for Take Fun.
A weird passage of play, like you said there, because they were staying in on such low health, but both teams were matching each other, and Libic is... actually just gotten stunned up. Oh god!
Oh, Jims! Oh, okay, he gets the kill. He gets the kill. That's why I wasn't saying anything, because I didn't want to say herpaderp. He flashed in with that auto attack. Wasn't quite enough to hit the shield down. That was quite a scary one for a few seconds.
That was a magical moment, sadly ruined by a shuriken to the back of the head. But okay, so still definitely not going the way of Karont3 in general.
What the hell is going on? There's so much action. It's another kill going down for Kondizan, who is now on 3-0. Make that 4-0. And they also forced out the Stand United from Shen. So that ultimate has 190 more seconds on its cooldown. What is going on here?
It's a really weird, because Jims just didn't seem to want to go back. He was like, I'm not leaving, even though he knew Kha'Zix was in the area. Once Aurelia teleported down, obviously, she kind of committed and then had to go back, so he knew she was gone. But it was still 3 characters, all of whom were very capable of killing him on that health. And he was just trying to make sure he stayed in and got the farm, and he ended up regretting it. He did obviously get that kill onto Thresh, though, so kind of a 1-for-1 overall. But the team in general, particularly because of the way Konzazan is picking up kills and taking down Karont3 is definitely ahead.
Oh, Kubon sticking to Jerome like glue at the top lane, really chunking him down, and that's a Shen you're dealing with. So ping's coming down on the red buff area, and Mouse look keen to steal away K3's red. Karont3 has to go back to spawn because he's pretty low on HP, and this may buy up enough time for actually another tower dive. The taunt lands on top of Kubon underneath that tower, and Jerome is going to have to get his dancing shoes on here to try and get rid of this gank, and to be fair to him, he's managed to pull it off for now.
Very smart play from Jerome. They saw that Kha'Zix wasn't taking the red buff, so the dive was signaled for Shen up the top. He knew that Kubon was therefore moving towards him to go for that, which meant he wasn't just going to try and juke out the way of the taunt. So he got the taunt, which meant that the wrong person was tanking at the earliest stage because Konzazan took like a second or two to catch up and start putting down damage on Shen. And so as a result, they couldn't stay in, they couldn't risk doing enough damage there. Karont3 was going to try for another smite fight. He got it!
Yeah, and he is so on point with the smites, but there comes the taunt. He's taking quite a bit of damage as well, and it's Orianna that gets the shutdown, so that's pretty significant right now for Karont3 because they were certainly second fiddle. Only 600 gold behind, even though it's a 5 for 2, so still very, very close and even.
I'm surprised that Karont3 got that smite there though, because she was a level behind, and Kha'Zix is extremely good at securing buffs, so I guess he just wasn't expecting to have that stolen away. Little bit odd considering he was invading the enemy jungle, but Karont3's got to watch herself. Himself? Evelyn has to watch herself.
There you go. I knew what you're going for, buddy. I do that all the time, to be fair. But it's going to be a Kubon shoving down a ward, just trying to get some vision of the area, maybe the jungle path, because obviously Evelyn is a stealth character and will suddenly just pop out the shadows for that gank. Bot lane, we were speaking before about how Jims is extremely comfortable on the Kennen AD, and even though there's been plenty of ganks at bot lane from the newest addition to the Mao's roster, Konzazan, he's not that far behind. He has a kill and he's 10 CS behind, so that's about even overall.
Yeah, still not a brilliant situation though, considering the amount of time that has been, put in there. I mean, like, at the moment, Jims is actually pretty strong. He's got a very strong all-in with that ultimate, and that's why Karont3 is down there, because with the combo of all of the 3 ultimates you can see there, they could lock down both of Mouse's bot lane. But it's a little bit strange to be going there at this exact time because of the minion wave and the weight that's pushing. And by the time they get into a position where they can actually go for this, I think Konzazan is going to be there for the counter.
Yep, it looks likely. Evelyn, I don't want to say the gank was never on, because if a Dark Binding lands, then they can jump on top of that. They do have both Slicing Maelstrom and Soul Shackles available, but the problem is the Dark Bindings haven't been landing, and therefore Karont3 is taking a lot of his time that he could be getting ahead on CS or experience, and nothing's really happening from his Spud. I don't want to say he's wasting his time, but he's getting towards that frame of mind now.
Yeah, and at this point now, Konzazan is down there. Take Fun is also aware of this, so Mouse are very, very clearly signaling they've got the men.
There's a Slicing Maelstrom, the Black Shield as well. Livic is taking a ton of damage, and now Karont3 is pulling himself back into this one. Rydal, however, could be falling before anything else happens. There is the leap. He's going to be jumping now on Evelyn, and the Stand United as well. So Kubon in the front line, going underneath that tower. Will they re-engage this one? Jerome taking point, Jim's firing on in with the lightning charge, but to be honest, I don't see any more kills coming down here. We'll get the flash though. Oh, death sentence narrowly missing.
It was a good little gank there from Kubon. They're taking very good advantage of the teleport, but will Karont3 go for the dragon? This is a dangerous proposition. Remember, buffed in a recent patch, can't remember if it was the last one or the one before, does % health damage. Jerem has built tons and tons of health, not a lot of resistances. He's got shields though. If they can survive this, then it'll be worth it, but difficult.
Yeah, lots of ultimates are still on cooldown from that previous engagement. Death Sentence comes in, and it's going to be Dragon taking down though from Konzazan, who will then pick up a kill. Nearly 2 kills actually before being taken out courtesy of Shen. So that's the Dragon, and a 1 for 2 trade. Could get a bit worse here if Neptuno doesn't watch his back. However, the Black Shield will come good for him. So yeah, 1 for 2 trade plus the dragon. Mao's looking good.
Yeah, once again, and Jim's going ham.
I'm surprised he's kind of gone off by himself. He's very high in hit points, but he realised that Kubon was in the mid lane. However, you're against the LeBlanc, and Take Fun is going to be able to escape from that one pretty much 99 times out of 100. Makler and Libic, though, are pretty low, so they're going to have to back on away.
Okay, right. Well, Karont3 aren't looking like they're in a brilliant situation right now. We've got 2,500-ish gold between the two teams. Not absolutely enormous, but very big for this stage of the game. Karont3, as a result, are going to have some difficulties. Their top lane is still doing okay. Their bottom lane is doing alright as well, but I think the big problem right now is that their mid lane is not able to roam. And Orianna is farming up. She will be a late game teamfight threat. She will be very strong. But LeBlanc is roaming with Kha'Zix, and that is such a scary combination. It's what's causing these advantages for Mouse in the first place. And if they are allowed to keep doing that, and Orianna just keeps farming away, it's really not going to spell any kind of end to this problem they're suffering.
Yep, and they've also stacked a lot of their kills on Kha'Zix, and that is all well and good because Kha'Zix does scale pretty nice. He's going to have a lot of damage in the mid game, but they'd probably rather a couple more kills on LeBlanc. Take Fun, actually, speaking of LeBlanc in mid lane, is going to get aggressed on Neptuno's taking a bunch of damage, and it's going to be Kha'Zix picking up yet another kill, and they're the kind of kills that they can't really afford to give back to Take Fun because he would have died in the process. He's been juking out. He got 2 separate fights kicking off at the same time. Again, Condescend coming out on top on Kha'Zix. He moves to 7 for 2 now, jumping on top of Jerome. He's chunking through him as well, and he gets another kill. That's a triple kill there for him. A delayed one all the same, but still 8 and 2 Kha'Zix. He's going to have a bunch of gold in his back pocket.
Straight out play. That was a 2v3 and they came out on top because they utilized their mobility brilliantly. You actually saw Jerome taunted under the tower and Take Fun juked using his blink back to get over the top of that taunt. It was a really smooth little play. Meant Shen wasted his taunt, meant he wasn't putting out any damage, and also put him under the tower, so put down some damage for free.
Take Fun comes in, chunks, and goes back out again. A nice dark passage as well, getting back to safety. But they certainly have painted that bullseye on the tower, and they're going to look to try and take this one down and cash in the global gold. It is firing down pretty fast here. Dark Binding comes in. So does the Dark Passage plus Black Shield, and that is going to be the tower, though, at the end of the day, going down in favour of Mouse, who have 3 towers to 0 and a dragon on top of it.
Definitely getting out of control here. Looking pretty ugly for Karont3 in general. Now, again, they do have a very strong late game team, but it's going to take them a long time to get to that. And they're getting to a point where even Shen in this top lane, who is very, very tanky, once Aurelius got that Blade of the Ruined King, I wouldn't be surprised if they started going for 2v1 dives, and he's not strong enough to fight Kubon as it is, so it's really, really easy for Mao's right now to just put a map pressure advantage down, and you can also see their ward control. They've got so much control and so many options for plays they can make, it's almost going to be impossible for Karont3 to counter it because there's so many options they've got.
Well, it's going to be a 2 versus 1 at top lane as here comes Iku and that's off. He's taking so much damage. Meanwhile, around blue buff, it's going to be another kill going down. Ultimate is used, and Kubon managing to escape that 1v2 situation. And again, this just goes to show how strong Irelia is. And remember that Jerome picked Shen into Irelia, so he felt he could deal with this. And so far, I've got to say, he's not really been doing so.
In the pure one-on-one sense, he's doing alright. But the problem is that Irelia would teleport, and thanks to the new patch which made teleport so much stronger with that cooldown reduction, and actually Jims is getting hooked to the face, because of that fact that Kubon's been teleporting down to counter every single Stand United, and that's been really, really turning it around and making Shen comparatively bad, because he's just not as good when he arrives after teleporting.
Yeah, I also got to give huge props to Kubon, who's played this game pretty much from start till finish. I'd say as close to perfect as possible. I haven't really seen him make any mistakes, Bunnington, and he's been pushing top lane. He's 1-0, he's got more farm than Shen, and as you say, he's been cancelling those Stand Uniteds when it really counts.
There's like this timing issue, because the teleport cooldown, the summoner teleport, if you teleport to a tower, it's actually now, at this stage of the game, exactly the same as the Stand United. It's really, really an interesting bit of counterplay there, because it means that any time Shen tries to make a play, you can always counter it. And that is so, so strong, because it used to be the way where if you tried to take teleport to counter it, the play that Shen would make is he'd make a play that was reasonably safe to disengage from, force your teleport out, and then he would try and utilize the 100-second window or whatever it was to get another play down while your teleport was down. But now that's just not an option, so he's just worse than Aurelia.
Well, Jims has found himself a wild thresh in the bushes there. Death sentence lands. The Dark Passage was not picked up, however. Meanwhile, Take4 will be taking down this kill. Jims has got the box around him, so he's in a claustrophobic area and will actually be getting taken down from the box itself on Thresh. And our 3 players from K3 huddling underneath that tower. There's safety in numbers, it would appear, but still, this scoreline is very one-sided now. 15-3. 8k goal difference at 18, nearly 19 minutes through. And that's about to get even worse now for K3, as Dragon is available for a few more seconds before Mouse take it back down again.
I've got to say, Mouse are really impressing me, especially with their new jungler. He is doing so well this game. Just destroyed Evelynn in the early game. He's read her mind on a lot of the counter ganks, and he's always in the right place at the right time. It's so, so scary to deal with a Kha'Zix that gets inside your head and gets to you. Whenever you're trying to do anything, he's there.
Top lane again, Jerome is being forced back from Kubon. Still has that experience advantage, and there is over 1,000 gold between the two of them as well. Just checking the gold tab quick. And Blade of the Rune King was finished off first, so I think you mentioned that before, Spuddington, that it was going to allow Kubon even more trading potential and dueling potential at the top lane with Shen.
Yeah, he's a character that synergizes naturally with health. He has high base health. That means percent health damage weapons are just better against him. He will obviously have some resistances, but you can see he's too scared. He can't go near this.
Yep, exactly. So he's going to be forced back again, which is going to translate and equate into another tower, which is going to be the 6th objective, 4 towers plus 2 dragons. So it is just getting towards that stage where they can't afford to keep giving away objectives, but they have to bounce back because they're hemorrhaging gold at this point. Ikunator comes in, he has to back away from Kubon. No one can deal with this Aurelia right now.
Their best option is to somehow try and make a play in the mid lane. Orianna is probably the closest to being on equal terms with somebody else than the enemy.
Jims and Makla are exchanging blows. That is going to be Stand United. This time it will come through, but there we go. Makla flashing through. And Jerome is going to be okay. However, Neptuno is in a really bad situation right now. Caught between a rock and multiple hard places, it would seem. Shockwave comes in. Neptuno is going to go down from Irelia 2-0. 8-2. Kha'Zix actually built up around you in Omen, and now they're trying to re-engage off this one. Gondazan's been caught from the Dark Binding. Interesting box. Just trying to isolate the rest of K3 so they can jump on top of Vital. However, I'm not too sure about this play right now. If that Soul Shackles comes off, it's going to be sad times for Kha'Zix. However, now Irelia jumps on top of Morgana, and Irelia will be going down. Shutdown gold coming into effect for Shen. Bags himself 432. Culling out from Makler as well, catches on Jerome pretty hard, but as a result, few players falling. K3 will not get objectives off this one though.
No, they've got to try. They've got to do something with this brief window they have, because they've broken the vice. There was a grip that was on Karont3, but Mouse actually threw it away a little bit there by being so aggressive, and that dive from Aurelia, especially at the end there, was very, very wonky and odd decision making. But it doesn't actually look at the moment like they've got the tools to do anything with it. Karont3, if they had a couple of sweepers maybe, they could be trying to get some vision control, make sure that Mouse has to be more careful about their next play in order to re-establish that vice grip. But at the moment it looks like Mouse is going to be perfectly capable of just walking back into the position they were in before and taking back their vision control.
I have to say that I really appreciate this non-selfish approach from Kondazan from Kha'Zix. That he gets all these kills. He's like, okay, I'm going to put this one back into my team. A lot of Kha'Zixes will go for flat damage and just try and nuke everybody. But he's gone around doing his omens, so he's playing more utility. He realizes that his team needs a bit of a tank with Irelia going Blade of the Rune King first. Econ Ator, though, from the aforementioned Randuin's omen up Kha'Zix is going to get taken down, and Take Fun goes on his rampage. This game, I don't want to say it's over just yet, but it's mighty, mighty close to being so.
Yeah, it's very hard to come back from this level of gold gap against this style of team. In fact, Mouse are giving them the best options they possibly can by kind of looking for team fight here. This is a 5-man group up, and even though it's going their way, I'm not sure this is necessarily the best move for them.
Oh, Shockwave comes in, just lands onto LeBlanc, who instantly gets out of dodge. Orianna falls, another tower goes down. Take Fun's been taunted, but there is no follow-up damage at all, because Jims and Rydell wanted no part of that. So another couple kills fall into Mouse's hands, and of course there comes a surrender vote. Don't blame them at all, just get on to the next game. This is a best of 5, still early days.
Yeah, just as a point of information, just because it's not necessarily the best play doesn't mean it won't work when you can gib someone under their own tower with LeBlanc. So scary, scary stuff there. A lot of that was dependent on Konzizan. So even though they were already focusing a lot of bans on him, maybe they need to focus all 3 bans on him next game, because getting any of the strong early-ish junglers like Kha'Zix on him apparently is a terrifying prospect. He was really, really good.
Yeah, 2/3 of their bans were targeted to him.